News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks. Oil is surging this hour as traders react to an Iranian report that the country will stop exchanging messages with the U.S. over Israel's escalation over the weekend in Lebanon. Bloomberg's Tyler Kendall's been following this story for us from Washington and says the sides are still pretty far apart, despite both sides also confirming they'd made progress this weekend.
Over the weekend, we saw Israel launch the largest incursion in Lebanon in nearly 2 decades, but the IDF says that is in response to Hezbollah launching nearly 300 projectiles towards Israel. So the escalation continues. We'll see how this ultimately progresses here, because keep in mind, the U.S. maintains Israel's front against the Iranian-backed Hezbollah militant group is a totally separate front, that these are separate negotiations. But for now, it seems like it has put the talks on standby.
Bloomberg's Tyler Kendall reporting there. Iran has mentioned from the start that any ceasefire talks would have to include Lebanon. Brent crude right now is up 6%, by the way, at about $97 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate is up closer to 7% at $94 a barrel. Senior government officials are warning Russia's President Vladimir Putin that spending on its war in Ukraine is on an unaffordable path. It's the most serious sign of internal division in Moscow since the start of its full-scale invasion in Ukraine 4 years ago. According to documents reviewed by Bloomberg, Russia's finance ministry and central bank have both advised the Kremlin that the current level of projected defense expenditure risks the government's budget deficit widening dangerously. They've suggested cuts, but Russia's defense ministry argues that could badly damage the economy since so many businesses rely on military-related contracts. Anthropic has now filed confidentially for public listing as it races longtime rival OpenAI to make a Wall Street debut as soon as this fall. Bloomberg Tech's Ed Ludlow has more.
It is the Monday after the Thursday, Friday that they just closed an absolute monster private round, $65 billion at a $965 billion post-money valuation. Timing is everything in this game, of course.
Bloomberg's Ed Ludlow. Rival OpenAI is said to be preparing its own confidential filing for an IPO in the coming weeks. Meantime, Florida is now suing OpenAI over alleged safety failings of its AI chatbot ChatGPT. The state's attorney general claims OpenAI and its CEO, Sam Altman, knowingly released an unsafe product and ignored warnings that it could harm users, including minors. We check the markets for you all day long here at Bloomberg, and right now the Dow is down about 0.4%. The Nasdaq's up 0.2%. The S&P is pretty flat. The 10-year Treasury yields at 4.5%. The 2-year yields at 4%. Shares of Nvidia are up 4.6% this hour as the AI chipmaker dives back into the PC market with a new chip called the RTX Spark Super Chip. Mandeep Singh's head of global tech research with Bloomberg Intelligence.
I think where they're going with this is they think the physical AI would be a much bigger opportunity. And you're not going to be able to do that just by focusing on the server and the data center market. So they really want to expand into other areas to build that ecosystem where they have, a PC footprint.
That's Bloomberg's Mandeep Singh on Bloomberg Intelligence. The new chip aims to rival industry leaders Intel and AMD and will debut in Dell and Lenovo computers this fall. Intel, by the way, down 3.6% right now. AMD's down 1.7%. Shares of MGM Resorts are up 15% after Barry Diller made an offer for the remaining portion of MGM that he doesn't already own. That move marks the latest pivot for the billionaire media mogul after overhauling IAC. U.S. manufacturing activity expanded in May at the fastest pace in 4 years, bolstered by a pickup in new orders and production. The Institute for Supply Management's manufacturing gauge rose to 54. Bloomberg predicted 53, but readings above 50 indicate growth and has signaled expansion for 5 straight months. Susan Spence is manufacturing chair at ISM.
Employment has stubbornly still stuck in the contraction territory, but it's up 2.2. And what was curious and interesting to me is the sentiment on hiring versus managing the workforce is now dead even. For every positive comment, a negative. So that has taken a turn. So I'm optimistic.
ISM's Susan Spence on Bloomberg Intelligence today. Sustained cost pressures could mean even higher prices for American consumers. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks, and this is Bloomberg.